The Bloody Podcassacre with Zac Walters and Kennedy Catherine.
Hello.
Welcome back to another week. You are Zac Walters.
And you are Kennedy Catherine.
Thank you. I had questions.
Identity crisis. I get that.
Forever and ever. Amen. And this is the Bloody Podcassacre.
Do you know we've been doing this for half a year?
No. What? Have we really?
It's June. We started in December of 2020.
Like we premiered in December?
Yeah.
So when did we start? October?
Probably. So we've been doing this for almost a year. Isn't that wild?
Every time I come to record, I feel like it's the first time. Not in the way of nervousness, but I just feel like I haven't been doing it long.
I know. And I hope that it stays like that forever. Let's talk about this movie.
Let's talk about it.
First off, Cloverfield. Jj Abrams.
What a guy.
I think I have such a soft spot for this movie because I watched this movie at my grandma's house in her basement, like by myself, on a portable DVD player, okay? She didn't have she had a VHS still and her record player. And my uncle sent me Cloverfield burned on a DVD in the mail from Vancouver.
Oh my God.
Right? It was a journey. And I don't think I ever watched TV spots for it or trailers or anything. I just kind of threw it on. And I remember watching it after Lady Gaga performed at the VMAs where she bled on stage.
This is an iconic night in history
yeah,
for you.
I fully remember everything about this. But then I remember being so in love with this movie. And I think it kind of opened this gore world to me. In the movie, we have that one really big gory moment. But yeah, I just it made me have this appreciation for gore in that one. It's a very split second scene.
I was going to say, because I don't even remember, I don't think of this as a gory film.
No, not at all. But there's that one scene where Lizzie Kaplan
explodes.
Yes. That is my core memory of this movie. Wow. And watching that over and over again, being how did they do this? But yeah, I also just wanted to pay attention to the monster. I was so intrigued by it and so captivated. And that's my story about how I love this movie.
If you are comfortable, there is a story that many, many moons ago you said you would share on the podcast when it was more relevant. It's your UFO, your alien.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm going to tell this story because it's kind of weird. It's so bizarre. And it was still with me at my grandma's house. Mm-hmm. My grandma lived in her family home until 2-3 years ago where she moved into an apartment. But when I was growing up, me and my brothers would stay there at her house and we each had our own rooms or we would share rooms, whatever. When I was I think I was probably 8, 7, I was pretty young. But I always had these weird instances where I was there's an alien. And that was my young mind being something is outside of this house. And I was freaking out because past my grandma's backyard, it was just huge fields. And so I remember specifically one night I was laying in the guest room and I heard this whirring machine noise and it sounded like a train outside of the house. And I remember being terrified because there is nothing close. The closest train station would probably be train station. We don't have train
I know what you're
here.
saying. The railroad.
The railroad would have been a couple kilometers away. I remember just always having this weird feeling and it's so stupid to think of. But then I went and watched this movie called Phoenix Forgotten. The main character is stuck in the middle of the, I think, desert. And these aliens come and they take her and they were why does it sound like a train is coming?
Ooh.
And I was so terrified watching that movie in the theater because it brought back all of these memories of me being a child.
How many times did that happen?
Once or twice.
Did you tell anybody?
Of course not.
So odd. If it's a one-off, even 2 times, you would think that there would be a reasonable explanation.
And it's
but I know that we've talked about the multiple options that there was, whether it was a vehicle or something, but it just wouldn't have been plausible.
And the fact that nobody else who was in the house was ever oh, did you hear that loud noise last night?
Right.
Nothing. It was just me.
And how old were you?
Probably 7 or 8. I don't like it.
What do you think about it now?
I don't know. Like, part of me is like, yes, but also no. In a small town, me, I'm the one they decide to pick to freak out. But there's no rhyme or reason, I feel like, that they would do it for anybody,
That's what I'm thinking, too, is... I don't know. I don't know how I feel about any of that. I don't know what I think is real or not, but why not a small town? Why not you?
Why not something
just
under
as
the
reasonable
radar?
as anybody else? Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. Aliens freak me out, though. In movies...
As a concept, they don't scare me very much.
The Fourth Kind, though...
Great movie.
Did it freak you out?
No.
I remember watching that movie and being like, this is real.
Yeah, I thought it was real when I first watched it, too.
The way that they, like, structured it and put together the interviews of the, like, real people versus the actors and made it feel like it's one of those TLC kind of, like, dramas. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And then I did not sleep.
I don't remember it super well. I remember where I was when I watched it. I remember that I thought it was real and that it scared me to some extent, but I don't remember it being, like, horrifying.
Hello, I am actress Mila Jokovic, and I'll be portraying the role of Dr. Abigail Tyler in The Fourth Kind. The footage that you are about to see. Why do I remember her opening lines to that movie?
I don't.
And then I remember that the alien that's taking them makes them say, Ziba do eat her. I remember all of these stupid things about this movie.
And have you watched it recently?
A year or two ago. And it still was freaky. It kind of lacks in editing, special effects now, but the story is still good.
I would like to say I thought it was real, therefore it was really well done.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I thought Mermaids: A Body Found was real the first time that I saw it, so I don't think I have a very trustworthy...
I don't have a very trustworthy sense of found footage. Not me.
I don't think I have a very trustworthy brain, is what I wanted to say. Well, should we go through the plot, or...
Yeah.
Okay. Saved footage on a tape shows our main character, Rob, waking up with a woman, Beth, before they share a day in New York together. We watch as fragments of the footage are taped over. Rob has a farewell party thrown for him by his brother Jason and Jason's girlfriend Lily, celebrating Rob's move to Japan. Their friend Hud films goodbyes and well wishes from friends during the party until Beth shows up, bringing a new man with her. Beth and Rob argue, and she leaves shortly before a supposed earthquake occurs, causing a brief citywide power outage. When the partygoers leave the building, the severed head of the Statue of Liberty is hurled into the street in front of them. HUD records an enormous creature several blocks away moving across the city. Later, during the city's evacuation, the creature's tail destroys the Brooklyn Bridge, killing Jason and several other people. News reports show the army attacking the monster. Smaller parasite creatures fall off its body and attack nearby pedestrians and soldiers. Rob listens to a phone message from Beth saying she's been trapped by a fallen wall in her apartment. The remaining group decides they'll try to make it to her, but get caught in a battle between the creature and the Army National Guard running into the subway, and are attacked by several parasitic creatures. In reaction to being bitten, one of the group members appears to become infected before her body explodes. When they finally make it to Beth's toppled apartment building, they find her impaled on a steel bar. They're able to get her off, and they make their way to the evacuation site where they encounter the creature again. Moments later, they're shuffled into a helicopter and witness the creature being bombed. The bombing causes the creature to fall, but it lunges out of the smoke, hitting the helicopter, causing it to crash in Central Park. Less than an hour later, the friends regain consciousness and flee. HUD turns back to retrieve the camera when the creature suddenly appears and kills him. Rob and Beth grab the camera and take shelter under an arch as the bombing starts. The bridge crumbles and the camera is knocked out of Rob's hand and buried beneath the rubble. Rob and Beth proclaim their love for each other just before another bomb explodes, both screaming while the monster roars. The film ends with the old footage of Beth and Rob's day in New York. Unseen by them, an indiscernible object falls from the sky into the ocean. Just before the camera cuts out, Beth says, "I had a good day." After the credits, a voice is heard saying, "Help us." However, when played in reverse, it says, "It's still alive."
Wow.
Wow, a film. A story, a legend. Jj Abrams.
Interesting filmmaker.
Yeah.
He's kind of really been all over the place.
He has been.
All I can think of that he's done outside of this right now is Star Trek.
Star Wars.
No, Star Trek.
Okay.
He also did Lost.
Superman? He did do Star Wars as well.
Oh, shit. Oh, my gosh. And he's executive producing a four-part UFO docuseries. What are the fucking odds?
This is great news.
He's done a lot of producing, but I don't know how much, like, directing.
I know that you have a lot you want to say about this.
Yes.
I have lesser feelings. I like this movie. It's not a genre that is my favorite, but I do like it. So I'm going to sort of just like sit back and listen to things that you have to say. However, I wanted to share with you how they conceived of the monster, because I felt like this changed my perspective of the movie a little bit, and I'm curious what you think about it.
Also, fun fact, the monster is nicknamed Clover.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Great.
continue on.
Yeah, that came about in Cloverfield Paradox, right? They named it?
I'm going to be honest, I don't remember Cloverfield Paradox at all. I really don't remember a single thing that happened in that movie.
Great.
The way that movie came about was so weird. It came out in 2018. Mm-hmm. They played a trailer for it at the Super Bowl for the first time, and then it said, on Netflix tonight.
Oh.
Or on Netflix now. It was like,
what a
first trailer at the Super Bowl, they put it out on Netflix.
I wonder if that was a great marketing scheme or not.
I think it was perfect because it...
bunch of people watching the Super Bowl knowing what they're going to do after.
Yeah, and like the fact that it's just like the first time that people are hearing about this movie and it's available now. Don't have to wait.
People love immediate access. This is true. We don't have patience.
But also all of the actors in that movie didn't know what the movie was called until they put the trailer out on the Super Bowl.
What?
Yeah. So like the first time that literally everybody outside of marketing and media heard about the movie was at the Super Bowl. And then it was out.
What a way to do it.
Mm-hmm. And so I think I remember watching it after watching the halftime performance and watching the commercials and being like, or seeing it on Twitter, and it was like, what? And then I went and just watched it because I was like, oh, it's available. Retained zero information.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. Great.
Anyways, the monster.
Yeah, the monster. Jj Abrams conceived of this whole idea when him and his son visited a toy store in Japan. He said that they were seeing all these Godzilla toys and thought, we need our own American monster, not like King Kong, because King Kong is adorable. I wanted something that was just insane and intense. So the monster was designed by an artist named Neville Page, and he wanted a biological rationale for the creature. So even though a lot of these ideas don't show up in the movie at all, one of my favorite little facts for the creation of him, he decided the creature was immature and suffering from quote-unquote separation anxiety. Mm-hmm. He compared him to a rampaging elephant, saying there's nothing scarier than something huge that's spooked. As for the creature's backstory, he said, for me, one of the most key moments in our collective brainstorming was the choice to make the creature be something that we could empathize with. It's not just out here killing, it's confused, it's lost, it's scared, it's a newborn. And director Matt Reeves said the creature's reaction to its surroundings was just that it was frightened of a new environment. Then he suggested the addition of white in the creature's eyes so that it would look similar to a spooked horse. And then the parasites came because they knew that realistically the humans couldn't interact with a creature of that size. But I thought that that was so interesting because at no point in that movie would I have thought anything other than this is just an antagonist.
Destroying a
just
city.
an evil little creature villain monster.
So there's a lot of theories about this movie. Like, there's a whole subreddit that still is active called Cloververse. Theories left, right, and center about this movie, the series, the connections, everything. But one of the most notable is that there's actually two monsters in the city.
This is a theory.
Yes, but also a lot of people have... Yes, it is a theory. I don't think anything has ever been claimed about it. But a lot of things is that, yes, there is the baby, but that there is also a parent. Because we have in the movie a couple of times where the monster is bigger and looks like more developed versus it being childlike. People have compared that, that is the thing where it's like this baby's looking for its mom and it's frightened. But
and then another time it's more like motherly, like...
trying to protect its child.
Right. That makes sense to me.
And apparently that there are scenes where they have teeth analysis where they're like, well, this one's teeth are way smaller than another one. This one doesn't have this characteristic on it. So I really like that theory.
I want to look into that and see what they have for actual physical sort of evidence.
I feel like I saved a picture. So there's these two more specifically. So this one's supposed to be
angle it down a little bit more. Thank you.
This one's supposed to be like the baby, and then this one's supposed to be like the adult.
Is that from the same movie?
Yes. This one is right at the beginning.
Okay.
And this one is towards the end.
I can't really make them out well enough.
I know. But then someone also was thinking that there's a third one, which I don't think there is. But also the original concept sketches for this movie of the Cloverfield monster, it was way more slug-like.
Yeah, there was
Did
a lot
you see
of
those photos?
Yeah, and they compared it a lot to the monster from Host.
One thing I kind of want to get into, which is one thing that I love about these, both this one, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I guess not the Cloverfield Paradox because there wasn't a lot to it, but the film's marketing campaigns for both of them were so, like, immersive and fun that, like, I remember when 10 Cloverfield Lane came out, I was fully, like, invested, me and my roommate. So they wanted to do kind of viral tie-in similar to what they did on Lost, where they had this thing called the Lost Experience, where you would go online, find websites, social media pages, like, etc.
Right.
So it was like an alternative reality game.
Like an interactive. Yeah, lots of shows do stuff like that.
So when they started doing Cloverfield, they decided, like, same thing what they did with Cloverfield Paradox. They played it before the first Transformers movie, which was Jj Abrams. Honestly, at this point, we'll say a name, we'll be like, oh, Jj Abrams. Just tag his name onto everything.
He's doing everything, that guy.
But they played the trailer, or, like, clips from the movie before Transformers, but they didn't put the title because they didn't have a title yet for it. And Cloverfield was just a working title. Eventually, like, a couple months later, in front of Beowulf, and then they confirmed the title that it was Cloverfield. Mm-hmm. But they kept it a secret from everybody so that, like, they would see what people would kind of think and everything. A lot of, like, popular news outlets started picking up on it. So a lot of people thought that it was going to be an H.P. Lovecraft movie, or that it was supposed to be a new Godzilla film, or a spin-off for the TV show Lost, which I never saw Lost. Did you ever watch it?
I didn't.
I have season 1 on DVD somewhere for some reason.
I don't like big ensemble casts.
It is. I remember seeing, like, clips of it, but that also a lot of people were not impressed with how it rolled out. Mm-hmm. I mean, after the writer's strike.
The writer's strike really affected a lot of cable television or network television at that time. It's so funny to look back on.
One of my favorite shows was part of that. Heroes.
Desperate Housewives for me.
Oh, we all have a show that was ruined. Eventually, some other people started just calling the movie The Parasite. A lot of people were being like, oh, well, it's apparently rumored that that's the working title, so they just all went with it.
Word of mouth.
Yeah. So then a lot of people, when the poster finally came out, thought it was going to be some sort of tie-in with 9/11, just because there was the decapitated Statue of Liberty, and then there was ruined buildings in the background, and that they just, like, kind of put those two things together.
Well, that would be in poor taste.
Yes. Then they set up this viral marketing campaign. So they started 2 websites and 2 forums where they started posting random things about the movie. And they started making their own websites in which they gave every character a MySpace profile. They had people study photographs to try to find more clues. And then they started this whole thing with... This is, like, such a deep dive, I feel. I feel like I might lose people. But they started focusing on a fictional drink called Slusho.
Okay, I've seen this and heard of this.
A fictional company called...
What is it?
Tagruato. Tagruato? Tagruato?
Tugrato?
Tag. Tag. Ruato. Tagruato.
Where is it supposed to be based out of?
Japan.
Yeah, then I don't even want to offend.
I'm going to say Tagruato as just my one time, and then I'll say the company. This drink company called Slusho and this other company eventually had this huge rollout in which people found that company was in Lost, and it also showed up in the TV series Alias, and people were drinking Slusho.
Alias is J.J. Abrams as well.
Yeah, and then it was also part of the TV spot for Star Trek, and then the Slusho was used at a bar scene in Star Trek. So is there a connection between all of these things, and that they're trying to piece them together, that this is one universe that they've made? Or...
It's just the universe of J.J. Abrams.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of people mostly tie it to Lost and that they think that it's connected. And I'm like, I wish I knew more about Lost to be like, elaborate on it, but I really don't know anything other than there was a bomb
I don't even know that. I thought it was a plane crash.
It was a plane crash, but then there was a bomb on the island or something, and they time traveled. It was...
What?
Like, it got weird.
Oh, I had no idea that it was, like, science fiction-y in any way.
Yeah. I could also be pulling that out of my ass, for all I know. But once they started building on Slusho and all of these other things, they started building, like, separate websites for them. And they started putting out food trucks for Slusho, and they gave everybody...
What is Slusho?
It's supposed to be like a Slurpee.
What does it taste like?
I don't know, but I would love to know.
I'm going to have to Google, like, what the flavor was.
Yes. And they started giving out t-shirts to people who went and saw, like, the movie eventually. It's just such, like, a huge... I feel like that's such a money thing when you think about it.
Such a money thing. You mean, like, so expensive?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an expense.
And for it to keep going for so many years and try to, like, tail it through every single project that you've worked on. Because it could be a fun Easter egg. Like, it was randomly, like, the company's logo was in 2 episodes of Heroes.
The Slusho drinks are classic slush beverages with the special ingredient of seabed's nectar. And seabed nectar was supposedly the... Okay, so seabed's nectar is the secret ingredient for Slusho, which is highly addictive and affects the human mind if it's eaten in its raw form. Discovered on the deep ocean floor under amazing pressure and extreme cold, the parasites found on Clover's body have extremely high levels of seabed's nectar in their blood. So this must be...
So essentially, the slush and the secret ingredient of the seabed's nectar and the Cloverfield monster come from the same place.
Right. But in reality, this was developed for... Oh, God, this is actually very in-depth.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I believe it started on Alias.
Yes.
I just want to know what the flavor is. Blueberry, chocolate, banana, and strawberry.
Oh.
Huh. What a marketing gimmick.
I know.
You're right. What an expense.
And so then they also, like, set up a phone number where if you called or texted them, it would, like, give you, like, messages about the company and that they were, like, there was a lot of high volume calls. Like, no one can answer you right now, so sorry. Like, just a voicemail. But then eventually people later received materials on Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Kung Fu Panda, The Love Guru, and Iron Man from that same number. So...
Hello, 1-800-HOLLYWOOD.
And that's it. So they also had... There was websites that were called jamieandteddy.com, which had to do with the movie, and there was passwords for them that you had to, like, figure out and crack to get in. Then there was missingteddyhansen.blogspot.com. Then there was tidalwave.com. And they did the same thing with 10 Cloverfield Lane, in which you had to, like, figure out and hack websites. And then you would go and post, and then you'd have to get an answer and just to, like, hear the new message. And it was, like, it's so much fun while you're doing it. But thinking back, like...
Who did that?
Right? And who had the time? Like, we just spent hours and days trying to figure it out, like, waiting for the next, like, clue to drop. For what?
Truly nothing. There is no payoff.
No prize.
Yeah, no.
Hasbro, which is a toy company, also started making collectible toy figures, and they're currently selling on eBay for $10,000.
What? I need to look these up, too.
Yeah. A toy figure of the monster Clover, and it has authentic sounds that come with it. And it also has little parasites.
That's cute.
They came out in 2008, right before Christmas.
Oh, it is ugly.
Yes, they are scary looking toys. But in these toys, there's apparently, like, Easter eggs in them as well. In, like, the windows. There's certain people standing in them. And there's...
Well, it comes in, like, a box. Are you talking about that
Yes.
part of it? Okay.
So there's, like, a huge box. And it opens up. And it, like, kind of is a New York cityscape that it's supposed to stand in front of.
Okay.
I just saw today that people are noticing, like, that there's certain figures standing in the window. And I'm just like, what is this all leading to?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. But it's still so fun.
It is so fun. And it's unfortunate that things like this don't really happen anymore, just because I don't know that the want to interact with that level, the want to interact at that level is still there. Like, you can get people who maybe want to passively ingest content on, like, a TikTok or something like that, but are people really going to go search out a website,
hack it,
and
do the deep fun digging that you do? We did something similar on one of my film projects we did.
Did you?
Yeah, where it was all based on Instagram, so that you didn't have to leave the app. But we made I made 22 Instagram accounts.
Holy shit, how did you have enough emails for that?
We would just use the character's name and then @gmail.com. We made a yearbook for all the characters that you could go and look through all of them. We made a map.
How much time did it take you to make all of that?
Probably like a week. It was long, but I also wasn't really working a full-time job at the time.
Right.
So we made the map, and then we would like have them each tagged at their cabin that they were staying in.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you clicked and went to the characters page, it was photos of what was inside their camp bag.
Well, that's fun.
And then each one had an iPod Classic in them, and then it would link to their Spotify playlist, which was all kind of tells the story of their character through the song titles, which I don't think anybody ever found out.
That's a lot of involved effort.
Yes.
And you did that
Yes.
yourself? Wow, God.
I mean, I did it with my team.
Oh, okay.
We turned it out, and I am very proud of that still.
Turned it out, turned it up.
I think that the main reason that I really love this movie is because of all the Easter eggs that are in it. Mm-hmm. Do you know any of them?
No, I don't. But I knew that you were going to tell me about them.
Yeah, so I was going to tell you about the one from last time because similar with The Ring, during the moments where their tape flips, during the moments where the film static kind of goes on and there's the tracking, there is photos of classic... wow.
Monsters?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. So the first one appears from the movie Them, which I have never seen.
No.
And it's just a photo, and I think it's like kind of like a big bug.
Okay.
The second one is when they're in the subway tunnels in New York, and there's the beast from 20,000 Fathoms, which is another creature feature I've never heard of. And then the final one is King Kong. And no, that's not the final one. Then there's also Godzilla. No, Godzilla didn't happen in New York. All of these monsters were ones that terrorized New York. So King Kong was the last one.
It was just like a quick flash at some point? Wow.
Yeah, they're flash stills.
Did not notice that.
You would not be able to see them watching with the naked eye. Like, you have to, like, slowly...
Then why?
I know. You have to go frame by frame and you find them.
Like, I know that attention to detail and that level of... Those layers make all the difference for the viewing experience and for the fans when there is this thing that they can immerse themselves in.
Well, and also it's another reason for you to go back and view it a second, a third, a fourth time.
Yes. But as a creative myself, that is a place that I struggle.
Oh, I know.
Because I just can't, like, I want to do the thing. And when people are like, but we could also do this really cool thing with it that's going to take 17 months, but it'll really be worth it. I'm like, if I can't see the immediate payoff, I don't care.
Fair.
And to be like, we'll do this thing, but can't see it with the naked eye. I'd be like, and for who?
I know.
So that I can't get appreciated for it? For what, another 2 years?
I'm just going to run through a couple of the Easter eggs that I love.
Go forth.
So, you mentioned the one, which is exciting. Is it exciting? I find it exciting. Is during the credits when they say, help us, and then if you reverse it, it plays It's Still Alive.
Yeah.
I know that they are in the talks of doing a direct sequel to the first Cloverfield. Did you hear the flap?
That was a flurry of activity.
And it was just one pigeon flying away.
Oh my God.
I know that they are in talks to do like a direct sequel, not one that's kind of like those spin-offs like 10 Cloverfield or Paradox.
Right.
Which I would be very interested to see what they would do or how they would do it.
Well, everybody's dead, ostensibly.
Which leads to another Easter egg. Mm-hmm. One of the guys on the bridge, when they're on the bridge before the monster attacks it.
Yeah.
There's a moment, I think, where HUD, is that his name?
Yep, TJ Miller.
Right. What a odd movie. Him and Lizzie Kaplan.
Yeah, there was a lot of recognizable people in this movie. Not necessarily, A-list actors that you're going to know, but a lot of people that you're going to recognize. And I completely forgot about that.
I knew Lizzie Kaplan was in it, but I forgot that it was TJ Miller.
TJ Miller's an insufferable human being most of the time.
Correct. Yeah.
Lizzie Kaplan, do you want to live with me? I'm available.
The door is open.
Very open.
But HUD is recording, takes the camera to another guy, and he's also recording. And so I can't remember if it was the writer or director, but they have this idea that that was a moment where two worlds were colliding, like two separate stories, and that they both were just there at the same time, and they both have separate stories going off. So I wonder if they would do like either after everything that happened or follow another group of people's kind of experience with the monster.
Well, how could it be a direct sequel if it doesn't tie into the first?
But one thing I want to ask you is, do you think that Rob and Beth died?
Yeah. I do.
There are some theories that they are still alive.
There is no reason to believe really that they are or that they aren't, outside of everybody else is dead and the bridge did collapse that they were under. But if they wanted to make a sequel and say that they're alive, there is no real reason that they couldn't. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have to, quote unquote, bring them back from the dead or anything. I just think it would seem a little implausible.
No, that's fair.
Impossible is what I meant to say.
Implausible seems right, too.
It does.
But it also doesn't.
I also have been a writer for, I don't even know how many years at this point. And what came in the mail today? My Grammar for Beginners book. Because sometimes I'm horrible.
Do you not use Grammarly? I wish that I could say this was a good sponsor.
Here's the thing. 95% of my job is proofing. So I do, but a lot of these things are just things that are in my brain at this point.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
I only kind of have 2 more Easter eggs that make this movie a 10 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
One is in the final shot of the movie, which is, I think, the most famous kind of Easter egg out of them all. When Rob turns his camera towards the ocean and they're in that carousel Ferris wheel thing, mm-hmm. There is, for a split second, a satellite that comes and falls and hits the ocean. Yeah. And a lot of people thought that that was the monster, which it wasn't.
Okay, so what is that supposed to be?
Eventually, that's supposed to be something that I think ties into the Cloverfield Paradox, because that one's like an interdimensional kind of movie, all that I remember. In another dimension, during that time, a satellite from space fell into the ocean, and that is what awoke the monster.
Okay.
Because the monster is from the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
That's kind of like the theory. I just wish that Jj Abrams would be like, here is a book.
Right. I wrote you guys an index.
Yeah.
A full encyclopedia.
Of every single detail that you have questions about, and it just says yes or no beside it.
You can find stuff like that for a lot of, like, the X-Files has one for sure. Mm-hmm. Any sort of, like, long-running series, usually you can find one. And I think that is so handy and so smart.
So the last one is, I remember seeing on the depths of Facebook, a lot of the movie posters, if you mirror them, it shows you the monster in it. So the first one I'll show you is the Cloverfield Paradox movie poster. This is the poster up close, and this is it mirrored. And you can see...
Yeah, you can see it's got like... it's like a mouth, right?
Yeah, well, it's better upside down, actually, because that's the way it is.
Oh, yeah, it's its face.
Yeah. In the first one, it's more of a stretch, but a lot of people... The thing about this is, like, I feel like I'm psychotic when I look at this, because I'm like, there's no way that that's a monster. But at the same time, I'm like, I see it.
Let me see.
So this is the one of the New York poster.
I can kind of see, because you know how, like, when the monster kind of, like...
Yeah.
How are we going to explain this? Because we both did the same thing.
Pushed our arms forward and... It's
almost as if, like, think of the monster getting into almost like a push-up position.
Yeah, like, it's like a fighting stance,
yes.
Almost.
I can see that.
But then, I have to find it. I don't have it. Oh, no, I do have it saved. Then, this is where it kind of gets stupid... Because there used to be a YouTube video of somebody sharing their found poster things. And one person, I think the video's still up on YouTube, drew with, like, Microsoft Paint around one of the clouds. And it is, like, always shared on that Cloververse Reddit as, like, a joke. It's just a small screenshot.
Oh my god, it looks like a turtle.
Yeah, and this is what people were like, we found another one. And so that's where it, like, gets... too far.
I love it though. I love when people it's like the most amateur, like someone just did a circle on the Snapchat where they opened it and they share it. They're like, look at this conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and it's like nothing.
I just don't see it.
Yeah. Anyways, that's the poster dilemma.
I was wondering why you had photos when I peeped your notes earlier.
I have a lot. And then I have that iceberg.
Have we ever explained the iceberg? We should tell people about it. I'm sure they'd be interested.
Yes. So right now, I think it's very popular in the last couple of months. Yeah. There is a photo of an iceberg where you have the tip of the iceberg above water, and then you have 4 or 5, however many you want, levels, and it just gets deeper and deeper, showing you, like, there's much more than just, like, what's on the surface. It's ways of ranking popularity, I guess, or...
It depends, because there's ones that rank gore, then there's ones that rank popularity, all those things.
Because the one with the Cloverfield one is, I think, kind of just like theories and concepts. So like the top one on this one is Slusho, the Super Bowl, Cloververse, found footage, Clovey, things like that. Middle ground, we have It's Still Alive, which is, a little bit more. You have to dig for it. The Slusho truck, which I mentioned. Emmett being the real villain. And then the last one is The Creature in the Clouds. That one that I showed you.
This?
Someone on Reddit. The Brooklyn Bridge camera guy. A Quiet Place is Cloverfield the movie.
I had wondered about that, actually.
Underwater is a Cloverfield movie. Super 8, which a lot of people think that is a prequel, is an alternate dimension. The alternate ending of which Beth and Rob survive. So it kind of just like gets deeper and deeper of like...
the layers that there could possibly be.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do remember the one that we were looking at was it gore or was it just disturbing films? Was it banned films?
Yeah, it was banned.
By the time we got to the bottom of it, it was like you could... Because I watched a whole video on it, which is available on YouTube.
Me too, and I think it's over an hour long.
Yes, but it was very good.
Very, very thoroughly researched. And by the end, in order to not be demonetized or to just to have the video taken down, the narrator...
Yeah.
He couldn't even explain what the movies were about.
No.
They were like highly illegal. You cannot find them.
Yes.
Levels of like snuff films.
And like he was also saying he had to ask people who knew people about those movies because you can't Google them.
Yeah.
Without getting like flagged.
Yeah, like a Serbian film is one of those movies that I feel like a lot of people know about because it's well known as just being like extremely gory and really disturbing. Yeah. And one of the more accessible sort of snuff films, even though it's not an actual snuff film. And it was in maybe category 2 of like so. 7.
And I'm pretty sure it was still with like Midsummer.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is not going to go well.
No, because once you reach the bottom, it's like, it's just, we can't even say anything. It's just bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Go watch it. Go find it. It's easy. You can find it on YouTube.
I think the YouTuber's channel was Wendigoon, I think is his name. So if that's the video that we watched, if you would like to watch that, because it's very, very interesting. And the house that Jack built was on it, which is why I wanted to watch it more, which I did. I feel like we've been all over the place.
No, you've done a great job.
Well, thank you, madam.
You're welcome. Tip of the hat.
Top of the morning to you.
Yeah.
God bless America.
Well.
Did you ever feel... Did you ever feel sad for the Cloverfield monster?
No.
Really?
I did not.
Like, there was moments where it was, like, being hit and screaming, and I was like, poor baby.
I did not have that feeling.
I did.
That's nice of you.
Do you know Cloverfield was just named after a street that Jj Abrams drove by?
I did.
How fun.
I love that. No, I don't think I did feel bad, but I also just was thinking of it as, like, an inhumane and not adjacent to an animal. It was just a thing.
Right. But it is a product of Earth.
Is it?
Yes.
Or is it a product of another dimension? Or space?
That is the question.
That is the question. Shall we rate it?
Yes.
Scary. That's not the point of it. That's not the point of it. Scary.
Oh, no. 2.
Yeah.
Situation, if I was in that, oh my god. I would just let it step on me.
Yeah, in any situation like this. Said it before, I'll say it again. This one time I was on a fucking Zoom call for a place that I no longer work at. They were doing like a team icebreaker, which is just the worst. And one of the questions was, what would you do in an apocalypse? But then halfway through they switched up the question. And so when it got to me, it was a completely different question. But I was like, I just want to say, I call bullshit on all of these answers because you know what I would do? Walk into the river and not come back. I'm not handling it. So yeah, if I was in a situation with Clover tramping around my city, where's his foot? I'll get under it.
Someplace like this, it'd be like 5 stomps and we go. There's not much.
One quick trample, whole city wiped.
Right? One side of the river, other side of the river, gone.
We're just a casualty along the way.
Exactly. So a 2.
A 2. Unsettling.
Putting myself in that situation of having to like run around the city and it'd be dusty and gross.
That's the concern, is that it's dusty and gross? Because our city is dusty and gross.
Yes. So 2 again.
Maybe a 1 for me. Maybe a 0. Story.
I would give it like a 6. Because I do find it entertaining that it's just like a bunch of nobodies once again, like a found footage style of like a bunch of idiots drinking and then having to go through this thing together.
Do you think that if you were in that situation, you would rather be, say you're at home, you have the option if something happens to be like, I'm getting in my car and I'm going. Or would you rather be with a whole bunch of people but not anywhere near your house? You're at a house party somewhere.
No, I would rather be at home.
Yeah, me too.
Because I feel like...
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think there's some people who would be super comforted to be in a group, and I don't think I would be.
No. I would rather have the group here.
It's so much harder to get everybody situated if you're with... Because at some point you have to find a way to break up anyways, because it's not like you're going to travel in a group of 20 people.
That's true. But yeah, I think I would just pack up my car and try to leave.
Me too.
If it's as big as we think and it's our small city, we ain't getting far.
You're right. Do you think that tornado rules apply? Just go into the basement?
Maybe or hide in the bathtub.
Go under a door frame.
Yes, that's for an earthquake.
Oh. Great. Yeah, I would go with like a 6. I'm trying not to think too much about the entire universe of it because that adds a lot to it, but probably like a 6 for just Cloverfield. Was it a paper cut or was it a bloody massacre? For me, it would be as if Lizzie Kaplan's thumb exploded, but just her thumb.
Ugh.
It was violent when she exploded.
And fast.
Fast.
Which is fun. I don't know my rating. One too many scuttlebugs.
That's what there should be called from now on.
Scuttlebugs?
Scuttlebugs.
One of my friends on Twitter is named Scuttlebugs. So.
Oh. Well, credit to you, Scuttlebug.
But overall, I think effective film. It's an easy watch. The special effects are very good for 2008. Anyways, that's it. That's all. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Bloody Podcassacre while Kennedy plays with my cat.
Thanks so much, Diane. Thanks for pointing that out. Let us know what you guys want to hear from us. You can email us at thbloodypodcassacre@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us at Podcassacre on TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter. You can also check us out on YouTube. We are at The Bloody Podcassacre. And that's it. That's all, my friends.
Yeah, so true, bestie.
So true, bestie.
Pop off, wig.
Until next time.
Something has found